Hey everybody, Dr. Meri Crowley for Now is the Time. I'm really excited because I have my good friend Sheila Holm in the studio today. We've got some amazing intel that we're going to bring forth today and really show a really amazing short video about her life and how God touched her at a young age. It's really quite amazing what was done. But before we get Sheila on, let's please roll that commercial. My Pillow has a mega sale going on right now. Let's roll that right now.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, My Pillow mattresses and My Pillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, regular $69.98. Now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Wow, it's a mega sale, Sheila. Go to mypillow.com, put in my promo code Meri, M-E-R-I, right in the middle of America, or click on the link below. Mike Lindell is an awesome patriot. We're both from Minnesota, so we just need to help support each other. Okay, well, anyway, Sheila, good to have you on. How have you been?
Good. Is he running I think he's running for governor, isn't he? Minnesota?
Yeah, they need to clean that state up. I mean, that's where I'm from. All my family lives there, and it's just incredible what they're trying to do. But I believe it's going to turn around, and hopefully, Mike Lindell will become governor and clean up the mess. So, Sheila, a lot's going on right now, and you only have a certain amount of time. So, you've got a new book. You've actually got a clip that we're going to run at the beginning. When you were young, you had a visitation from God. Is that correct? I mean, Ashley, a pretty amazing story. And this video that we're going to show in just a minute, it's going to kind of showcase a little bit of your life through AI, which is actually really, really cool. So why don't you explain what we're going to see with this clip we're going to start with?
You're going to see everything from age 4 to current day summarized in 5 minutes and a few seconds. So.
Okay, well, let's just run that clip right now, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to literally showcase Sheila from when she was young until present day.
I do ask every publisher, every editor, and every newsman in the nation to re-examine his own standards and to recognize the nature of our country's peril. In time of war, the government and the press have customarily joined in an effort based largely on self-discipline to prevent unauthorized disclosures to the enemy. In times of clear and present danger, the courts have held that even the privileged rights of the First Amendment must yield to the public's need for national security. For the facts of the matter are that this nation's foes have openly boasted of acquiring through our newspapers information they would otherwise hire agents to acquire through theft, bribery, or espionage. The details of this nation's covert preparations to counter the enemy's covert operations have been available to every newspaper reader, friend and foe alike. That the size, the strength, the location, and the nature of our forces and weapons, and our plans and strategy for their use, have all been pinpointed in the press and other news media to a degree sufficient to satisfy any foreign power. The newspapers which printed these stories were loyal, patriotic, responsible, and well-meaning. Had we been engaged in open warfare, they undoubtedly would not have published such items. But in the absence of open warfare, they recognized only the tests of journalism and not the tests of national security. And my question tonight is whether additional tests should not now be adopted. That question is for you alone to answer. No public official should answer it for you. No governmental plan should impose its restraints against your will. But I would be failing in my duty to the nation in considering all of the responsibilities that we now bear and all of the means at hand to meet those responsibilities if I did not commend this problem to your attention. It is the unprecedented nature of this challenge that also gives rise to your second obligation, and that is our obligation to inform and alert the American people, to make certain that they possess all the facts that they need and understand them as well, the perils, the prospects, the purposes of our program, and the choices that we face. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. And it means its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits. If the press is awaiting a declaration of war before it imposes the self-discipline of combat conditions, then I can only say that no war ever posed a greater threat to our security. Our way of life is under attack. Those who make themselves our enemy are advancing around the globe. The survival of our friends is in danger. And yet no war has been declared. No borders have been crossed by marching troops. No missiles have been fired. If you are awaiting a finding of clear and present danger, then I can only say that the danger has never been more clear, and its presence has never been more imminent. It requires a change in outlook, a change in tactics, a change in missions by the government, by the people, by every businessman or labor leader, and by every newspaper. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. Nevertheless, every democracy recognizes the necessary restraints of national security. And the question remains whether those restraints need to be more strictly observed if we are to oppose this kind of attack as well as outright invasion.
Wow, that's amazing, Sheila. Now, this gentleman who put that together has worked with President Trump.
He did all of the short videos for President Trump's 2024 campaign. He was part of the Flynn movie, collecting video for the film about Flynn's life. He's an amazing man. And he has been at some of the Reawakens doing photos, whether that's part of the Flynn information that's going to be coming out or for the reunion, I don't know. But he's been involved with all of this the whole time, and they call on him to do this. And he's also done special docufilms that we're going to be involved with together regarding the Native American Indians across America and what their stories are, because he loves what happened. And he got the new book, and it's 500 pages, the one you just saw at the end, An Eternal Plan Always Trumps the Human Plan. And he read half of it on a Monday and called me Monday night and said he's going to read the second half, and then he'd like to do an intro video. I said, excuse me, you're reading 500 pages. I said, you might want to take a rest tomorrow and soak it all in. He goes, I did soak it all in. I'm going to read the other half tomorrow. And he did. He read the whole 500 pages in 2 days. And people are reading it in 3 to 5 days. It's amazing.
And the book pretty much details, tell the people what the book's about.
It's how to counter the 45 points. I was handed the 45 points when the Brunson case came out about Congress, House and Senate. I was having a conversation with international attorney Todd Callender, who operates out of the Bahamas, and he's filed a case against the judges. We had a conversation, and I said, you know, the way the judges have operated against me and the way that the 3-letter F agency has supported them in doing what they did to me, I think it'd be interesting to find out if the judges took the oath. And did you know we found out that none of the judges are taking an oath either? And that includes all of the DC judges who went against our J6 military people, especially, but a lot of J6 people putting them in prison for things that weren't even misdemeanors, and Congress was not even in session, so they didn't obstruct anything. And so when we found that out, he filed that case April 18 of 23. And during that process, somewhere during, I don't remember the exact day that he did this, he handed me the 45 points they used to destroy every nation. And this one was specifically for America, read into our congressional record back in 1963. We know what an amazing year that was for this nation and John F. Kennedy. And so in 1963, they read these 45 points into our congressional record. And they are specifically for us. And I think we've talked about the president getting the Panama Canal resecured because we never gave it up. And we didn't, they said they were protesting them on their canal back. Well, we paid them 10 million for the 4,000 acres back in 1903. We paid France 40 million who didn't finish it, but wanted the money. So we paid them 40 million and it paid another 375 million. Guys, this is back in 1903 dollars to build that. And I found that we lost 35,000 people. And President Trump found by the end of this that we lost over 38,000. And he gave me all these prices on my birthday after he had already confirmed that it's ours. But here's how, you guys already know how God works through me, those who've been following us for a long time, Meri. When I need something, I just get silent and ask him. I don't know where to find it. And I couldn't find the treaties for the Panama Canal, and it's point 44. And God wanted me to write the book backwards. And I said, if I don't get this done, I can't complete the book. And so I said, I can't find the treaties. And by this time, President Trump, back in July of 23, got my original information. And on August 23 of 23, when we were in Vegas, I was there early. It was a Wednesday night, to have dinner on the new Andrew magazine. And they moved the dinner to Thursday night after we were in Chicago. Remember, we were in Chicago on the 18th right. And 19th.
That was my second Open the Heavens.
Yes. Yeah. So I was driving quickly across country to be there by Wednesday midday. And I get there, and then God said, I did this for you. And I said, you did what? And he said, we're going to watch TV. Well, we never watch TV, and I'm in Vegas. I don't even know what channel you want me to be on. But the pre-recorded interview, the first one since Fox that Tucker did, he did it with the president. And he was wanting all the new information because he's got the president on the interview. And right in the middle of the interview, between like 22 and 25 minutes of the 45 minutes on air, they and it's all the transcript, everything that I'm saying now is all in the new book. And the president starts talking about 1903, and Tucker keeps trying to bring him back to current day, and the president keeps going back to 1903, and he's giving me all my information. I'm sitting there and I'm hearing him quote all my research, and I had one question. I said, with God giving me this, so with all of this being true, then if this is all true, who's in control of that canal? And he said, "You're not going to believe it." He said, "You know who's got control of that canal?" I know you're wondering. And he said, "It's China." And of course, I'm Xi's best friend, and we're going to be talking. I'm just going to pick up the phone, make a phone call. We're going to get the control back. I mean, he's just made it real simple. And that so encouraged me that I was on fire to get that book done quickly. Well, it's 500 pages. And I was frustrated because there's 5 things that didn't make it in that book. And Father took me to a place with him and described to me, he said, it would have been 3,000 pages if I would have let you keep going. And it's true, because there's so much to tell the people, because this whole thing has been going on since before we were ever formed as a nation, because people don't think about it in 1700 times, when people in their whole lifetime may have not traveled more than 5 or 10 miles, because you're in a horse cart that takes forever to get there. When my great grandfather took my grandmother from Nebraska back to Iowa, it took a couple of days, 3 days, whatever, to get there. And then the cart would have to be taken care of. The horses would have to be taken care of to prepare everything before they could return. So you don't realize we didn't have the communication, et cetera. And so point 43, right before Panama Canal, is you have to take them over before they're self-governing. And that's how I found that all the territorial governors, the original Supreme Court, total Congress, House and Senate, they were all members of the Knights of Pythias and the high societies. And so they were controlling everything from the very beginning. And so we really haven't had a chance. And that's what this book is about. But in the Panama Canal, I was finding all this information, but I couldn't find out how we could get it back. And so I said, Father, I don't know what to do. There's no copies of Treaty 1, Treaty 2. Nobody can find that. And it's with the president, and he's a major real estate guy, and I can't find a real estate transaction. And so I was sitting at the computer, and this is months after the August interview. And I'm just sitting at the computer. It was a Sunday afternoon. I'll never forget it because of what the team did. I'm sitting at the computer and I'm in tears. And I said, if you don't tell me how I can find what happened to this canal, how can I conclude? And he said, U.S., just very softly, U.S. State Department statement, Second Panama Canal Treaty. And as soon as I typed it in the search engine, boom, there it was. Per that Second Panama Canal Treaty. And so it's in a statement of millions of documents, okay, in the State Department.
God directed you. When you say Father, you're talking about Father God, and God directed you to exactly where you needed to go.
Exactly. That's what he does on everything with me. But this was so profound, because who would have ever looked in stacks of documents about the Panama Canal over in the State Department? And so when they found that document, they found that that's exactly what it said. That's what was so amazing too. Is per the second treaty, it says the Panama Canal land zone. Now the Panama Canal is just running through that zone, but the zone itself is the more than 4,000 acres that we bought back in 1903. And so all of that land will cease to exist on 1 October 1979, which is European format. So it wasn't even written, for us. It was, but that's how they hid it. You can't find anything on it because it never was resolved. And that's why the next time he spoke about the canal, he was already saying that the whole thing has been fraudulent and it's still ours and blah, blah, blah. But we had to get Marco Rubio in there to start going down and doing the negotiation, et cetera, et cetera. So the book didn't come out in 24, it came out in 25. And so with all of this research and with everything going on, I didn't find out until he announced everything in social media. And it was on December 22. And there were arguments already going on with the president of Panama. And he was saying, with the threatening tweets from President Trump, America needs to know that every square meter, acre, hectare, whatever they call it in Panama belongs to Panama and will forever belong to Panama. And the president simply responds, we'll see about that. 1 hour later, here's one of the biggest ships we have with one of the biggest flags of America that going through the Panama Canal. And nobody realized they were charging us 4 to 5 times to put any ship through from America as what they were charging anybody else. But all of the money to take care of everything is from us. So he said, welcome to the United States of America Canal. So that's on December 22. And then every 3 days, he did miraculous things for me. So when that came out, I immediately answered in social media. And then I told the team, they said, what else do you want to know? And I said, so then who is securing it on both sides from both oceans? And I want to know what's happening with that for security. And I want to know what's happening for the maintenance of it. Because again, what God said, with all of this being true, who's paying the maintenance? And so as Trump does, because of AI, he codes different. So he goes, Merry Christmas. All of this is in the book, the pictures of all the social media, the key ones, not the audits by Ted Cruz and everything else, but all the key documents where he's talking right about my research are in the book. And he said, Merry Christmas. Did you know that down there at that canal, they've got Chinese soldiers at both sides? So he's telling me that's how they're securing it. They got Chinese soldiers on both sides of that canal. You see, that's how the drug running, the sex trafficking, everything. And so with all of that going on, he said, and did you know that the repairs, and he put repairs in quotes, so here comes the maintenance. He said, did you know we're paying billions of dollars a year and they say we have no voice about any of this? So he was giving me the answers without Sheila asked this question. And so he answers back saying security and maintenance. And it's just been profound working through this whole process, but that's how everything has happened in this book. Absolutely everything. And so, when all of that happened, we came forward to my birthday, and that's when he gave me the prices I just gave you for the purchase for France, for building it 375 million by 1914 is when they finished it. And so that's what he gave me. And then 3 days later was the Carter funeral. And all I told the team, they said, Sheila, what else do you need? I said, I don't need anything. You guys just need to know that's what, remember we've talked about the Faith Monument and how important, and you've been to the Faith Monument. And I said, the Pilgrims gave us the truth, and they banned this church structure in America for 500 years, and it didn't last quite 250 by the time of the Civil War. And so I said, we've got to go to that. If we don't go to giving this country, rededicating this country back to the Lord overall, and stand with him and bring us back to real truth with the Bible, with that being our rule of law, with the 10 Commandments, if we don't come back to that, what the Pilgrims brought, we're not going to be able to retain it in the future. And that's why he had me do this book, is for a training manual for the future generations. And that's why I was so concerned, because I said, look at how much my books have changed in a decade, and look at how much, and he said, but I'm going to help you. And now people are calling it a synopsis for life. They're calling it a training manual. And I have never focused on that. It's just, I wanted to get the information to the families, because that's what they destroyed. If you destroy the fabric of a nation by destroying the families, you've already won, because it's divide and conquer. So you get the children speaking against the parents and the grandparents. That's the third pillar on the Faith Monument, that the parents train up a child in the way they should go, so they do not depart from it, and the grandparents mentor. So they've gone, these 45 points go against absolutely everything of being as the Pilgrims were. So what happens at the Carter funeral? Remember how the code in the dresses, as Juan tells us, she wore a pilgrim outfit, and she sat as a demure pilgrim woman, wore the pilgrim hair.
Yes.
Didn't have the cap on.
Interesting. It's so interesting, Sheila,
Yes.
because I'm writing a book about, and chronicling from when the Pilgrims came here until present date, the history of a nation in Reformation and revival. And a lot of the detail and data is wrong. I'm working with a high-level whistleblower, but knows an incredible writer that's working with me. And so I'm starting on this right now, because like what you're doing with this 45 points, God is going to do this, because when this move comes, people have to research and see how they got duped before, and God is going to bring this foundational message for it, so that people can see it as a blueprint to go back exactly what you're talking about. Sheila, you came to my 6th Open the Heavens in June 6th and 7th down in Orange County, and you had your book there. It was amazing. I think you sold out. You guys, we did our 7th Open the Heavens in San Francisco. Sheila wasn't at that one. You weren't able to, but we're doing the 8th one in Las Vegas on May 8th and 9th. At this point, you've got it scheduled to come. But let me tell you guys, God is literally dealing with these demonic entities around the world. He's exposing them. He's uncovering them. And we're going to see, I believe, the greatest move of God the world has ever seen. But as many have said, including 107, that it's going to look like a near-death experience. Something is getting ready to happen. Now, Sheila, there's a lot of news that's coming out lately. Why don't you give us some breaking things? You were talking this morning about Tom Homan. Why don't you share?
It's fabulous. Remember when they kept telling us there were 3,000, and I'm guessing at the number it's 684 or 846 or 864. It's one of those mixtures of numbers, but over 3,600 children that were identified and logged in as coming in illegally with people into America. And he expressed how the Biden family, crime family, well, however he described it, they didn't even go look for these children. We logged it in how many came in, but they didn't even go look for him. And now they have just found all of them. And so that's what this whole thing about ICE is about. But people are thinking, it's just, this is going to be taken care of easily. It's so much deeper. There's so many more layers than you can possibly imagine. The network was so completely entrenched in our system in America for generations. This is, again, they took us over before we were self-governing. And so we've been a captured operation the entire time. We've never had liberty and we've never been free. We just need to capture that. Canada was supposed to be part of America then. So now people are putting maps out and saying the president's wrong, and saying that I'm saying the same thing, that America is really everything from Canada all the way down to South America. It's not true. America is a nation, and America is what we are, the United States of America. There is South America, there's Latin America, there's North America, there's Canada. It isn't America is this, and then they put the United States with Alaska over to the side. I didn't even see the Hawaiian Islands, and said, this is the USA. Excuse me? So people don't understand. We aren't trying to take over these other nations, but this is what's so emotional in the finding of the children, in the stopping of the drug running, and the stopping of the sex trafficking and human trafficking, and the stopping of all of this was resecuring that Panama Canal. I mean, what are the chances, Meri? When I think about it's so emotional, because this whole book has been extremely emotional putting together, destroying the family. I mean, every little piece of the tapestry of the family was attacked, so that there would be no unity in the family, because then it's easy to divide and conquer. You just set people against themselves in their own household. And that's exactly what they've done over the generations. It's not just indoctrinating programming, they've taken over. And so when you take over the minds of the youth, how are they going to recapture? Because they're going to find that the indoctrination purposely said, you're not going to be able to trust your parents and your grandparents because they're going to die. The only thing that's going to be here for you is the government. The government is all you're going to be able to trust. That is total socialism at the core. And it's been from the very beginning of this nation. That's what's so sad. It's not just the last 5 presidents. It's from the very beginning. It's point 43 of the 45 points. And that's why God had me write it backwards. And I called our friend in the midst of this. I said, you're not going to believe it. I had the whole thing structured. I had everything together. But now I go back and add the extras, because God always gives me gems to go in and add to make it richer for the people. And so I said, I'm at that point now, I got to flip the whole book. And he goes, why? And I said, because I have to now write it backwards. He said, of course you do. You have to write it backwards because everything they do is backwards. So the only way that people are going to be able to read it forward is if you write it backwards. I said, that's what God just said. And it was so funny because he said, you mean you're calling me to verify God instead of calling God to verify me? He said, this is quite a day. And so, but that was a conversation. So I had to flip the whole book. But it makes so much more sense. I couldn't see it until I flipped the book. And when I flipped the book, you can get righteous anger by the time you realize what they've done to all of these nations. That's why right now people are like, well, the president wants to take over Venezuela, and he wants to take over Cuba. And I don't know if you've heard my interviews on this. And he wants to take over Colombia, and he wants to take over Mexico. And that's why the president's here. And so they started stamping America and putting American flag over all these things. Guys, these are our neighbors, and we have spent all of this money and all of our lives from the beginning of time doing wars over in the other side of the world. So we're operating in the other hemisphere. Our guys are losing their lives, leaving us vulnerable while we're being fully attacked here. The war has been here, but they're sending us over there to bomb places, and then we rebuild them. That's what NATO was about. So the gift since I've seen you was when the president went to Davos. And in essence, guys, he very gently got us out of WHO. He got us out of WEF. He got us out of NATO. He got us out of the UN. All of this is going to be happening because all of this was fake. We were paying over 70% of NATO, and we were doing it to pay for the wars, our guys losing lives and us rebuilding it. And we haven't rebuilt anything here. The president's cleaning all of this up. And so when people say, well, I just don't see very much is happening. Guys, it's from the very beginning. We're talking about cleaning up 250 years of being a captive to a slaved environment. We've been slaved and not realize it. And to make them happy and keep doing better things for us, we have to keep going into more levels of our family being enslaved. And so we ended up being the people that stayed in Egypt, just wanting to be comfortable, wanting food on our table, and wanting someone else to take care of the problems. That's a monarch mentality. We don't want a monarchy. They wanted George Washington to be a king in America. That was never going to be allowed. And when the Quantico happened, I haven't even been on with you, I don't think, since the Quantico meeting with all of the leaders from all of the bases all around the world, all the flag officers coming into Quantico, and so many good things happened from that. The reason all of that happened is that it's been British Commonwealth bases that we've been operating out of, where the CIA offices are. And those were locations that were doing the trafficking, doing the election interference, I mean, guys, we've been paying the bill, but they set it all up. But it's been set up for a long, long time. We weren't protecting us. And so that's the refocus in America. And we cannot get to that until we get down to who are the legal citizens in this nation, because we don't just have people on visas who never went home that are living here as though they belong here, and they've blended in so well. We are just completely encased in criminal activity all around us, with people who got away with it with the consequences. And Minnesota is a template. There's a beautiful thing that came out, and this is like a week and a half ago, and it came out direct from the president. And he said, I sent J.D. Vance, vice president, to Minnesota to do whatever he could, and he couldn't get him to help. So then I sent Homan. Remember, he said, I'm sending Homan tonight, and when he comes back, he's going to give me a big report. And they wouldn't cooperate with him and help him either. So he said, I'm sending in, and let's just say the guy's name is Gerard. I'm not looking at it right now. And he didn't say a last name. And so he started saying, I'm sending him in. He's going to see exactly what needs to happen. And then he's going to accomplish it, take care of it. I'm paraphrasing, but that's it. And then the next paragraph is, so I probably should have given you a deeper introduction as to who he is. He happens to be General, blah, blah, blah. And he lists his name, and he happens to be over the 101st Airborne. And by the way, they're going in by helicopter. And he's going to see to it that everything that needs to happen is going to happen. Now, what we have just witnessed in Minnesota, he's been very clear. That's a template. That's going to be happening everywhere. And you know what just came out last week? Someone was in Seward, Nebraska. I'm from Nebraska. I have Norwegian relatives all through Minnesota, but I haven't lived in Minnesota. So, but none of them knew that Tim Wall's right-hand person, who's been involved in all of this, who's been coordinating all these riots, who's been coordinating getting people trained to do these riots, who's been doing all of this, is running for state senate in Minnesota. And everybody thought she was so wonderful. She smiles all the time, says really nice things. We don't know who's in the layers, guys, yet. And so when people keep saying, I don't think much is happening, it's all being revealed to us. And I know it's frustrating for some people to see, well, so much that they're doing, but where's the accomplishments? Where's the, it's layers of horrific evil. The best way I can describe it. And you have no idea, because they all smile at you. They've been smiling at you from the formation of this country while they took us over. They came here purposely to take us over. That's why there's a new term in America now called Monroe Doctrine. For Monroe Doctrine in 1820, when later he became President Monroe, when he did the Monroe Doctrine, he was telling Congress, you've got to stop this infiltration. It's at a point where they're bringing tyranny into America, and we're not going to be able to turn it around if we don't stop it. That was in 1820. So what did they do? They decided to move all the Native Americans who were the original people on the land and everyone with them, which probably included the Pilgrim families. They moved all of them so nobody would have truth on the coast, and then kept infiltrating the coast. So I've already told you guys.
You're talking about the trail. Talking about the Trail of Tears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had to move everybody on the other side of the Mississippi. Why? So you wouldn't be able to counter what they were doing, because the people who knew the truth were sent on the other side of the Mississippi. What are the chances back in 1820, 1830, that anyone would be able to go on that route and get word to people, or come back and get word to people? It stopped all the communication. Truth was sent away. And the Cherokee man who fought it and won in the Supreme Court, he was put in prison in a hard labor camp because why? He didn't have one of their new bar licenses to be representing other people. He was a Cherokee. He was representing himself and the Cherokee people, but he fought through all of their court system and then won the Supreme Court. And because he did that on behalf of the tribes, they sent him to prison, just like they did all the missionaries, all of the pastors. Those were the main people that they put in prison in hard labor camps. So they were never heard from again. So anybody who has been speaking truth is removed or done away with. That's what we're dealing with. And it's at every level. There was just an announcement this morning where 2 people running for mayor or running for governor in different states, because they were operating against, and one of them was running against Karen Bass in California. Daughter found on the side of the highway, died. Another one running, his daughter found dead. It's, guys, none of this they're still doing what they have done all of their lives. And we have to stop all of it, but it's everywhere. And the layers are everywhere. So instead of saying, I wish this was over and I wish we were almost done, Father, I thank you. If there's anyone that I can share information with today, whatever the information is, give it to me and I'll share it. Father, if there's anyone I need to have a conversation with today, put them in front of me and I'll do it. Father, that's all we need to do. And I put out something this week on Twitter that really shocked people. And I got the biggest response. It's just a little bunny with his ears down and he's looking up to heaven. And it's no matter where you've been, no matter how many steps you've taken away from the Father, it's only one step back. And the reason being, all you have to do is fall in his arms. And then people say, well, you also have to repent and you have to ask forgiveness and you have to do this and you have to go to a church and you have to do. No, the fellowship of the true believers was never in the church structure. Men built buildings for the fellowship to gather. And then the school, they just put down the back of the pews, and the men built all this. They made all this. And they had school, so that everything was done in what they called the house of the Lord, but it wasn't the church structure of Europe, because their children were being groomed. Their fathers are being boiled in oil and burned at the stake at that time.
Well, Sheila, just interject. That's why the Puritans came here. That's why the Puritans came to America, to escape religious persecution and tyranny under the kings.
Yes.
That's why they came to America. And, we're going to see a great awakening, but it doesn't have to do, I believe in the ecclesia. It's the body of Christ, not a church building. And we're seeing a lot of things exposed, even in the church is being exposed. A lot of people that God is, he loves the people, but he's not going to wink at this stuff anymore. He said judgment begins first in the house of God. And we're seeing it happen. And, a lot of sexual, sin and immorality. And that's why he said, examine your heart, even as David said, create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within us. And as you know, Sheila, with most great awakenings, it comes when people repent. In Joel 2, when the priests weep between the porch and the altar. And he said, and afterward, I will pour out my spirit. So, and he's exposing it. And he's judging it. And we're putting, it's God. He has to judge. Otherwise, you know what I'm saying? We're corrupted too. So, Sheila, we're coming into a great time, I believe. That's why these events, you know it. You've been at how many of my Open the Heavens? I think 4 or 5. But let me tell you, just for the record, May 2nd, 2020, I woke up. We were the first state that shut down in California. I heard the voice of God say, we won't shut up till you open the heavens. Told me to do 7 baptisms along the Western seaboard Because remember, Sheila, when Jesus was baptized, it said the heavens were opened and he heard the voice of his Father say, "This is my beloved Son." And we did the first baptism May 30, 2020, and a portal, something shifted in the heavenly realms. There was a rainbow around the sun. We did the 7. He said, I had to do it before the elections. 2023, he said, now you have to do these events, open the heavens. And I was going to call it open the heavens, prophets and patriots arise. But God said, no, open the heavens, let God arise. And so every single one we dealt with spirits over the region, and we didn't try to bind them or do anything. What we did is we said, Psalm 24, let the King of Glory come in. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness of. So you were in Chicago. Was that the first one you were at? Sheila, I think in Chicago. Juan was there, 107. Scott Bennett was there. Lloyd Brunson came. There was a lot of people, but let me tell you why I'm bringing this up. We've got the 8th one coming, and it's going to be on Mother's Day weekend. I know it's Mother's Day, but let me tell you, it's 8th and 9th. Bring your mother or just fly back and be home for Mother's Day. But let me tell you this, God is birthing something. And Sheila, at this point, everything is being exposed. These Epstein papers that are coming out, 3 million. I've heard there's another 3 million that are going to be released. What do you know about that?
It's all opening wide up. Finally, Wexner is the Victoria's Secret, but all of the L brands are all under him. And now about the girlfriend, and that Ghislaine started out being a major person at Disney. Did you know she was employed by Disney for a long time?
No.
And remember the Disney cruises that stopped at Epstein Island? Family cruises stopped at Epstein Island. You could go snorkeling in the water. And she ran the submarine underwater. And a youth director from Disney disappeared.
Wow.
I mean, that's what I mean. The network of this is so much larger than anyone can possibly imagine. But we're stopping a lot of the flow with this, with what President did in taking back and resecuring the Panama Canal. And that's why now healing needs to happen, because they were using from all around the world. They were bringing the drugs and then using Colombia, Venezuela, Cuba, and Mexico to run the drugs into America. And so that's why people think it's been tough with the president saying, they said, what are you going to do with these guys? Because if you blow up that boat, you're blowing up several people. And he goes, I have to kill them. Oh, sir, they're in international water. They're killing Americans. They're going to be killed. And I'll never forget, he was on, and these short videos are so profound. And he was on and he said, guys, do you know that we have 11,088 killers they specifically sent to America? And not one of them is just killing once. That's 11,088 killers killing Americans. And people have no idea. We've been tracking all of this. None of the ICE knows what they're doing. But look at the resistance they're getting from regular people, thinking these people have to stay. And we talked about, I think the last time I was on, there's a guy that was, I don't know if he's even been removed yet. He's a district superintendent of schools, the largest school district in the state of Iowa. He's been in America illegally for 30 years. Yeah. He has double IDs in the state of Maryland, I believe. And in the 2 driver's licenses, they both have voting records, and both of those records are voting. And he's in Iowa making $350,000 a year. He has a criminal record. He's never tried to even become an American in the over 30 years that he's been on the land in America. But guys, it's not just those people. We just want those people gone. All the Somalis have to leave Minnesota. No. Who helped them get all these benefits? Who helped them get Social Security when they never worked here? Who helped them get all this money to do daycares and senior housing for seniors? What they're doing, they're doing the same thing the Chinese have done, the same thing that Iranians have done. The people from the Philippines, they buy these huge houses with lots of bedrooms, and then they charge these people the same amount as being in a senior care facility, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month. And the families are paying it to have a more private experience. But not all of them are actually doing it. But they're still getting the money, and they've turned in fake names. But guys, they can't do this without being assisted by legal Americans. And that's what I think we're missing. You can't just eliminate and remove the people here illegally, because the people legally here are the ones that have made it possible for them to do all of these things. None of this is new. And that's why the president said Minnesota is merely a template. And for Nebraska to have people videoing, it was late at night. And here's the sides of the vehicles, and they have the ICE emblem and the ICE name on the side of the vehicles in Seward, Nebraska. And I already said the Somalis have taken over the meat plants in the Midwest, and Schuyler, Nebraska has a big meat plant, and everybody there is from Somalia. And so it's not just California, it's not just New York, it's not just Minnesota. And to focus on those is a distraction for us, because our focus is, Father, every day, thank you for showing me what I can do. Thank you for revealing to me what I can take care of. Thank you, whoever I can help come to your feet and know you, because that's all it's going to take to turn this nation, is to get them back with the Father. And it's just one step back. And people go, well, Sheila, they have to do all these other things. I said, I didn't know about repentance when I was in the church all those years. I was a pew warmer, the best pew warmer you could possibly find. I was at every potluck. I was at all the meetings. I did everything. I didn't learn any of this until I was tight with the Father. And that's why I've said for all of these years, please get tight with the Father. And the people keep going, well, how can I hear his voice? Get tight with him. Thank him for speaking to you. Thank him for revealing to you his truth, because you want to do this with him.
Well, in reading the word, reading the Bible, reading the word of God, and spending time in worship. I mean, it's not that hard. We get so distracted with our devices and scrolling and everything else, and just shut it off and spend time. As you said, Sheila, I know you have another interview coming up. Just the last 5 minutes or so. As you said, people are going, why isn't it fast enough? What do we need to do? As you say that we all need to do something, it's because we got to all take action. Here out in Hollywood, they say lights, camera, action. We just can't sit around. It's time to move. It's a movement. And he told me, Sheila, you've heard me say this, he said the best movies, the best music, the best is getting ready to come. But we have to take back those mountains. The people have to start moving and doing something. And that's why we're doing things here in Hollywood. But, it's a war. It's not been easy. They've been here a long time. And look at the Super Bowl. I just found out from a source that I did not realize that Jay-Z has been the one that's had the Super Bowl halftime shows. Well, of course, Jay-Z. Look what they're doing with the indoctrination. Him and Beyonce. I'm going to be interviewing a guy later today that I got, through Jerome Corsi, that wrote a book called Silicon Satan, all about these people bowed to the demonic realm. That's why they got to these high levels of money and fame and power. But that time has ended. It's coming down, but we have to speak up and keep moving. And people are waking up slowly. And it's taken a while for people to wake up. Don't you think, Sheila?
Well, and we had idols, and all those idols, you had to make the deal in order to become the top movie stars, become the top singers, you had to make those deals.
Yeah.
Look at all of these shows where they pick out, and these kids will do anything to become famous. They'll do anything to become a singer. They'll do anything to become an actor. And then once you make the deal, then you're stuck. And they may not keep you in that, because when they're done with you, you'll either be on drugs, want to kill yourself because of drugs, want to kill yourself because of what they've made you do. We've had people try and tell us about it. The two Coreys, remember, they were trying to tell us about it. Isaac
Feldman, Corey Haim. Yeah. They tried to tell us, so many people. You look at all the Disney stars, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Miley Cyrus. You look at all of them, they start out very virginal. You look at, Taylor Swift. They all start pure, and, everyone thinks this is what a good role model. And the next thing you know, that they're twerking and they have crosses upside down burning, and you're going, what? Now they've got millions of followers and they flip? No, it was by design. And I think a lot of them were MK Ultra, meaning they were mind controlled. I can't guarantee that, but Kathy O'Brien is going to be at the event, Open the Heavens. She was, MK Ultra in the late 50s.
Look at the flip of Katy Perry.
Yes. Katy Perry, Christian parents, did a Christian album. But then she wanted fame so bad. I knew people that knew her when she was here and really wanted fame. She would have done anything. And she'll even say she sold her soul to Satan. And now, she's one of the top, female singers in the world, but at what price? At what expense? But that is going to change. Well, Sheila, it's going to be a great awakening. In fact, God told me 30 years ago when I was in San Diego, he said the greatest move of God the world has ever seen, greater than any move, is really ready. It's at the door. But people think, well, God's just going to do it. No, we have to pray. We have to take the authority that God told us to do, and we have to move. God is backing us. And that's why you had to actually physically write that book. God, you could have just sat there. Well, God, write the book. But no, he said, no, you have to write it, Sheila. He showed you where to go. It wasn't easy, but I remember so many times, I've got to write the book. I can't do a podcast. I've got to write the book. You spent a lot of months writing that book, and basically in Georgia, just stuck away in your place. And so we honor you for that, Sheila. Where can people, so now the book, let's put that up on the screen. You can get a hardback cover of the book, and it's autographed, correct? If you want to get that, where can they, now that's the, let's go to the book cover. There it is. Sheila, tell us about
the book. Is available on the website, paperback and ebook. All my books are paperback and ebook on the website. And they're also on Amazon. The hardback is on Amazon to be available globally. And so you can order it on Amazon, or it's $35 on Amazon. The paperback is $30. And if you order it on Amazon, and you say you want an autograph copy, the only way to do that is just go to our website and donate $60 to the Cornerstone, not PayPal, Cornerstone. I'm refunding all of you. So if you did PayPal, I'm refunding everybody. So make sure you check your emails and your account, because you'll be refunded the amount. It's a $60 donation. What we'll do is we'll order it from Amazon, we'll get it, autograph it, and then we'll reship it out to you. And so that's what we've been doing, because so many people wanted an autograph. I was shocked. I had never seen my books in hardback before. And it makes a huge difference, especially with 500 pages. But now we're looking at doing Nation Restoration, the devotional, and the book series. I don't know when, but we're going to try and get those done, because people are really wanting the hardbacks. And it's funny, when I started doing these books, everybody wanted ebooks because they didn't have room for any more books. And now everybody's ordering the print books after Nook went out of business and they lost thousands of books. And so you're not going to lose it with ebooks, because those are controlled through the system, and you will receive them with the cover and everything on it if you order them through the website. And you're going to be able to keep those. So we're not saying you have to get a paperback or you have to get a hard book, but that's the option on the books. And all of the other books are available on the website and in ebook format also.
Yeah, let's flip it over to show the front of the book. That's the back of the book right now. That's up that shows Sheila's her biography.
That's the hardback right now.
Right. Let's flip it to the front. There it is. That's the hardback book that and you brought those to my event, right? In June.
Yeah, I had the paperback.
Oh, you only had the paperback. Okay.
Yeah, and I only keep a few, so I only had a few, and I didn't know I was going to be in Southern California, but I had to get my 2,000 car smogged, and it took longer. And so I was excited that we could connect for that one. I wasn't certain I could do it, and so I just brought the ones I had in the car.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you. Well, let's take that off the screen. So, well, thank you, Sheila. And, the best is yet to come. Everybody, please mark your calendars for May 8th. It's a Friday evening and all day Saturday and Saturday evening. Sheila right now has it on the calendar for her to come. But like I said, we've also invited Juan. I've got Kathy O'Brien confirmed. I'm inviting just different ones as God tells me and directs me. But we'll have the flyer up and everything probably within a week. That will be on my website. So please go to my website, mericrowley.com, and you can keep abreast of what's getting ready to happen. I'll put that up on the screen, mericrowley.com, and you can actually go to the website and find out when we'll have it up on the website probably in the next week or so. And it's going to be free. I always make it free, but then we do have a VIP. I try to keep them, it's $199 for VIP or $197, but if you get VIP tickets before VIP early bird, it's only $177. And anybody who's wanting to sponsor, we have 3 sponsor packages, $5,000, $2,500, or $1,000, which my admin can help send to you about, how you can become a sponsor for the event, or actually have a table at the event with your merchandise or things that you kind of like at Clay Clark Reawaken. There was many people that had tables there. And the venue is going to be at the Ahern Hotel. Don Ahern. What do you know about Don Ahern, Sheila?
That's where the Double Down was with Juan. Was at the Ahern. I met Mr. Ahern the night I met Juan in person back in January 22.
Yeah, and Mr. Ahern is a patriot. The hotel used to be called, I think, the Dragon Hotel. It was a Chinese hotel, had a dragon in it. It was, I guess, pretty grotesque. And he bought it, and he changed it all out. It's a boutique hotel, doesn't have any gambling in it, but we have a block of rooms. There's 200 rooms at that hotel, and there's free parking, which is great, and there's no resort fees. So it's a very great place. They've done a lot of patriot events there. And everybody I've talked to, which I went and saw the hotel just a few weeks ago, but they said it was an amazing time. The VIP is going to have a VIP luncheon, VIP seating. You're going to get to meet and greet with the speakers. And, we're going to probably have, I think the venue holds maximum like 500, 300 to 500. But anyway, it's going to be awesome. Well, Sheila, any last closing things you want to say today to the people?
There's a lot happening, and Father's hand is upon us. And I just pray that all of you are tight with the Father.
Yeah, so let's say a closing prayer. Lord, I thank you for everybody watching. I thank you, Lord, that you would bless them and keep them, that your face would shine upon them and be gracious to them, that you would lift up your countenance and grant them your peace. And I thank you, Lord, even in the midst of a storm, that you said we could have peace. And even as Jesus, when he was woken up by his disciples, because they said, we perish. And Jesus rebuked them and he said, oh, you have little faith. And then he spoke to the storm and he said, peace, be still. So Lord, we thank you that you in the midst of us are mighty, and we can speak to these storms because I know that you are going to bring in the great awakening for a great time of harvest for the world, for the 8 billion people on this planet to come to know you, Jesus, and to know the Father of lights who created the whole universe and the world. And we thank you for all of that in Jesus' name. Amen. So listen, you guys, please follow or subscribe. I know they've tried to even shadow ban me on Rumble, and people, Sheila, are saying they're being unfollowed on Rumble. They go, some of my best friends going, I don't know how I got unfollowed on Rumble. So please go back to Rumble and follow, because there's some, shenanigans going on. And just follow me. Go to YouTube, because I got back up on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube and some of the other ones. And please share it. And also like and hit the like bell, and also make comments, because it affects the algorithms. And so thank you, Sheila, for coming on. God bless you, my friend. The best is yet to come. We'll see you soon. God bless.